Joining us now, longtime secondary coach Dwayne Akina, also assistant head football coach for this team. And coach, you've been doing this for a long time. Your voice, surprisingly, is still here. What's going on?
Well, just a lot of endurance over these last 30 years, and I've built up some endurance, but it's just great to be back out here working again with the guys, and I'm really excited about the upcoming season.
Well, last time at this year, we were talking about 2 new corners. How was Carrington Bynum? Would Quandre Diggs start? How would they react to the pressure? They had very good years. Now you've got another year in the system. What's the next step for those 2 guys?
And that's the first thing, the challenge of now we have to shift gears. A year ago, many people didn't give us much respect, though we knew what we had coming, and so did they. And now we got to be able to handle all the great things that are being said about us. So it's a new challenge for us. The guys understand that. It's not what they're saying before the season. It's what people are talking about after the season that really matters. So they're working hard. I think the corner play has upgraded. One of the reasons for is there's great competition. I think Sherrod Evans and Duke Thomas and Leroy Scott have come in doing a good job, and AP can always go back out there again. And you know, in order to have, I believe, a strong secondary, you have to create that kind of depth. And we've worked hard to create an NFL environment, and I think that's what we got here.
How do you create an NFL environment?
I think it starts from the players from beforehand that have gone up and lived all these kids' dreams, and they've all come back. I think our past players have done a great job, from the Jammers, the Huffs, the Ced Griffins, the Michael Griffins, the Earl Thomases, the Terrell Browns, Shockey Browns, Curtis Browns, you know, AJ Wibbs. They come back still in the off season and they work here. And I think as you create and you're able to go out and recruit good athletes, they understand that you got to go out and work all year round. And that's what an NFL team does, you know. And so I think that's the environment we've worked hard to create, and I think they got that here, and there's great competition. And the only way you're really going to reach your potential as a player, I believe, is if that's the situation you're in. So for 365 days a year, we're constantly working on improving our craft.
Well, Coach, when you talk about Adrian Phillips, how does Adrian Phillips fit in with his secondary?
You know, he's one of those guys, much like some of the safeties we had before us, Ahmad, Michael Huff.
You had to get Ahmad in there, right?
I do, and rightfully so, because the mental side of the game is so big for me, you know, and Ahmad was great at that, and he passed that on to Michael Huff, who took that part of the game very serious, and Michael then passed that on to Gideon and Michael Griffin, and that's just how it is. You know, in today's football, you got to be an intellectual player. That thing about, hey, you just line up and you got him, that doesn't fly anymore. Offenses are very sophisticated and understanding formations and rub routes and all those things. So we have to have built-in traps within that, and we're a very aggressive coverage team. We like to play man coverage, it's no secret, but we also have to have traps in order to help our guys out, and the safeties control all of that. So, you know, it's very important that not only do you have great athletes, that they understand that the mental side of the game is as important as the physical side of the game.
This linebacking core this year, very athletic, especially DeMarco Cobbs. We've seen Cobbs covering tight ends, sometimes even slot backs. How will that free up your guys to roam a little bit more?
Well, you know, DeMarco started with me. It was very difficult for me to lose him, you know, because I think he still has that coverage ability on the back end. So he gives us what we would call a big nickel, you know, and that can handle a tight end. So still, if you got the Pettigrews, the Greshams, those big receiving tight ends that are also part of this league, you don't have that physical mismatch, you know, where a smaller defensive back would have to be on him. And now we feel comfortable that he can match up, and if there's an outstanding receiver outside, we feel good about that one-on-one matchup, and we can maybe go double an outside receiver or free AP up who's got great ball skills to play the quarterback's eyes. And so it just gives us a lot of coverage flexibility when you know your tight end and our Sam Backer, there's no mismatch. Maybe there's mismatch for us, you know.
Well, Coach, finally, I mean, you've had some incredible depth. Go back to the 2005 team. You had 5 guys that were NFL guys. Your nickel guy played in the NFL for a long time. How deep will the secondary be this year?
Well, you know, I think it will be a deep secondary. I think that group's the measuring stick. I could argue that 05 group could be as good as any secondary that has come through. There's really, in my opinion, 4 first-round draft choices when you talk about A. Ross, Michael Huff, Michael Griffin, and I believe Sid Griffin is a first-round draft choice. And I think he proved that after his second year, and they restructured his contract. You know, so that's as good of a secondary as we've seen. I think it rivals that 01 Miami secondary and some of the late '80 secondaries of Florida State when Dion was there. And I think when you got 4 first-rounders, they all start as rookies and they're all still playing. I think that's a strong argument. I think this group, I think it's tough to measure them athletically because of what they've done, plus in their postseason. But I think we're very happy with where we are. We're getting deep, and we continue to push ourselves. It's a great group to be around. It's very competitive, yet it's a great group to be around. They push for each other too, and it's just, it's wonderful to be a part of these guys.
Well, Coach, one of the best things about our job is being able to watch you coach. It's always a pleasure. Thanks for the time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys.